What up, y'all? Mr. Zoo Nation, aka Savage Armor Jones Rafa. Welcome to another episode of the Haters Guide. Today we're gonna be talking about overdress format and kinda sort of V-series format. Alright, so yeah man, ever since premium format got fixed, pretty much everybody kinda gave up on overdress. But I'm kinda sorta not really super surprised as overdress format kinda sorta needed to be like a little bit better. I feel like that Bushiroad relapsed into their old habits pretty like too fast in my personal opinion. But at the same time, I also feel like that there wasn't like a lot of stuff um to really look forward to when it comes to overdress. Here's my reason. You have to look at the issue of Bushiroad is just doing what Bushiroad does best. They play favorites. Nobody wanted to see Bushiroad play favorites in a format like this. Yes, have certain decks be super like powerful than the other ones at times, but not give all of their major attention to a certain deck. And I feel like that even though we're barely 3 sets in, we're still seeing that behavior with like Bushiroad and whatnot. And I'm gonna be real with you. I feel like that the format is also a little bit too linear, but I can also get into that in a little bit. My issue is there's no way in hell you have all of these ride lines and only 4 of them are actually viable. Like, I'm not saying that all the other, what is it? I think it's 21, right? I'm not saying that the other 17 isn't really playable or anything else like that, but they do not have the advantages that these 4 particular riot lines have. I mean, you got Bastion, you got Bruce, you got how do you pronounce this girl's name? You got like what is her name? Felty Rosa for a prime example, and then you kind of sort of had Clarissa too. Like, they're like the 4 main ones, and then like when we get set 3, more likely Greedon is going to like join this all together. I mean, it makes no sense. You know, like, have your powerful decks, yes, but don't put all of your best support into like 4 fucking decks. No, let's not do that. It's all like, and again, I'm not saying that all the other decks are bad in general. Because, like, let's be real, even a lower tier deck like, what is it, Mongolia for a prime example, even though Mongolia has a lot of problems, it has still topped in one tournaments from time to time. So I'm not saying that, like, not any of the decks really do that. I'm saying that all the other decks that are not the 4 decks that I mentioned should not be struggling this hard to get a single win. It shouldn't necessarily be a thing. I'm hoping that like when set 4 comes out, because that's when we're getting the like the second versions of the original 5. Like, I'm hoping at least they get, like, at least they kind of fix something. Like, they kind of make them, like, I'm not going to say super overpowered, but at least they make them valuable. Like, I'm kind of hoping that the value will eventually come in. And so far, we're not seeing that. And so, like, I feel like that there's a couple of things that overdress format has over premium. And mainly, it's getting into the game. It's way easier getting into the game with overdress than getting into the game like instead of like getting into premium format. Even though right now at this current time and day, you know, it's pretty easy to get in a premium format, especially if you had a V premium deck. But I did mention about the what is it? The linear like gameplay that shows up in overdress. I feel like that's also a major issue, but at the same time, I can't really say it's an overall issue because of 2 particular things. One, the game just started, so we only like what 7 months into overdress, into this whole reboot. So we still got to give it some type of time before yeah, no, we got to give it some type of time before we can determine like, hey, this format's way too linear. Let's not play it anymore. I think everybody got burnt out. It's my person. I think everybody got burnt out way too quickly. In my personal opinion, because yeah, I'm not gonna say it's a trash format though, but like it has a lot of issues. And I think the second one is they oversimplified it. In my personal opinion, I feel like Overdress is way too simplified. I think that's another reason why I got boring so quickly. It's way over too simplified compared to, everything else that Vanguard was before. And I understand that oversimplifying it basically makes it to where it gives new players a chance to play the format. Or even get into the game. I can kind of sort of understand that though, but at the same time, it's like, yo, bro. I'm not saying make anything complicated though, but you have all of these unique abilities and you're not really using it to your fullest. I'm not necessarily saying that I was expecting everything to be good like day one, but I feel like that we're 3 sets in with a couple of extra sets at this particular moment. I'm all like, yo, why couldn't you I don't know, man. Why couldn't you at least improve on a lot of the things that needs to be improved? Basically, what all this whole thing is, why not freaking give everybody support to where everybody is on an almost equal playing field? Like, yes, like I said before, you're going to have those decks that are very powerful, but at the same time, the other decks shouldn't be that far behind. It's all like you have decks that has issues that could be fixed within a couple of cards. A couple of cards could fix the issue that some right chains actually have, and instead of trying to fix it, you decide to ignore it and give everybody else who definitely needed support, who doesn't need support, you try to give them even more support to stay powerful. My personal opinion, that's bullshit. That should never actually happen. It's all like, I would even arguably say that V Premium or the V Series, when it first came out, had a better start in their rerun than Overdress did. I'll give you a prime example. I said we're about like what 6-7 months into Overdress, right? If I remember correctly, I think that's how far we in. All right, let's look at the V Series 6-7 month into like their first, reboot and whatnot, like their first year, like 6-7 months into there. If I remember correctly, we were at Worlds. I think it was January. We were at Worlds, and I would say like the Genius Strategy was like the last set to come out. You know how many decks were freaking playable at that particular time? I will arguably say like 9 decks are kind of sort of playable with like a few dark horses here and there. For a prime example, I feel like that every single United Sanctuary deck besides, let's say, Royal Paladins is playable. I know some people are going to say Genesis wasn't really that playable, but I will get to like that in a minute after I like figure everything else out. So that's like 5 out of 6 decks in United Sanctuary that was playable. Then you had 2 decks from Dragon Empire, which was Kagero and Murakumo. Then of course you had, so that's like what? That's like 7 right there. Then you had, what else was it? You had Neo Nectar's and Great Nature from the Zoo Nation that was also playable. So that's 9. And then I think that was it if I remember correctly. Because I think everything else either really wasn't that good or it barely came out. Now let me explain to you why. So yeah, we had about 9 playable decks out of like, I think the 14 that was out at the time. So yeah, honestly, we had like a lot of playable decks at that particular time. OTT was obviously one of the head honchos, of course. And then like you had Murakumo, that was another one, and then kind of sort of Great Nature. and then what was it? Gold paladins and uh what is it? Angel feathers and whatnot. You had all of those that were actually pretty, that was actually like the head honchos and whatnot. And honestly, you also have to put like all of this into consideration, right? Wait, before I even continue, Genesis. Here's the reason why I feel like Genesis was somewhat good. It wasn't a good deck as in terms of, you can basically beat almost anything that's in the it's not in the same tier as like tier 1. I feel like it was more like a tier 1.5 deck because I felt like that the deck was all about scrub teching everybody. It's all like when you see it from like the tip of the iceberg, the deck looks very powerful. Like Himiko is very powerful, but then like when we look at the bottom of it, you start to see like all the issues that the deck had, and one of the reasons why I feel like Genesis kind of died out pretty quickly. So I mean, I don't know, man. You had a way better, like I said, V Series had a way better time despite having a lot of decks that really wasn't doing that well either. It at least had some playable stuff at this particular time. It at least had some type of diversity or something that you can work with. Whereas this is like what, two lyrical monasterio decks, like one dark state deck and one cater sanctuary deck. That's actually doing something. Nah, I don't think that should be a thing. So yeah, man, that's it for my rant for today. I kind of ranted long enough. But let me know what you guys think, man. I feel like that this is something that needs to be looked more in depth to. I might go more in depth into it though, but I'm not too sure. But for now, my name's Mr. Z Nation, aka Savage Armor Jones Giraffe, signing out.